at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will then re-air the entire convention at midnight. We want to hear from you in this conversation, and you can join it by calling in at 202-748-8920 for Republicans. Democrats, your line is 202-748-8921. If you belong to an other party, 202-748-8922. And if you're undecided in this election, call us at 202-748-8923. You can also post on X with the handle at C-SPAN or on Facebook.com/C-SPAN to join the conversation. Some of the speakers tonight include leadership. The House Speaker, Mike Johnson, will be at the podium again tonight. Elise Stefanik, Tom Emmer, and Steve Scalise, all part of the House Republican leadership. And then also speaking will be Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, and Governor Ron DeSantis. All three of those challenging Mr. Trump in this primary, in the 2024 presidential primary. And also, we're expecting to hear from Senator Marco Rubio, Republican of Florida. As many of you know, he made the shortlist as a possible vice presidential pick. The announcement made yesterday that Mr. Trump decided to go with Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Laura Trump, also the RNC co-chair, will be speaking tonight. I want to show you the front page of the New York Post. This is the headline: "Everything's coming up Trump," noting the Republican nominee secured the GOP presidential nomination for the third time in 8 years yesterday. His pick, Senator J.D. Vance, as his running mate, and the dismissal of the federal classified documents case against him. And of course, his narrow brush with an assassination attempt this past weekend. A lot going on tonight in the Fiserv Forum, as well as the 2024 Republican National Convention enters its second day. C-SPAN's Susan Swain is on the convention floor with Brett Samuels of The Hill for more on tonight.
Good evening, Greta, and welcome to the next day of the Republican National Convention in the Fiserv Forum. We are front and center with the podium at our backs, and as you said, we're going to talk to Brett Samuels of The Hill, who covers the White House and presidential politics. Let me step over here, Brett, so I can see you. And I wanted to be in front of the podium because there's going to be two interesting speakers here tonight, two people who challenged President Trump for the nomination this year, Nikki Haley and Florida Governor DeSantis. Let's start with Nikki Haley. She was not on the schedule until very recently. Do you know any of the backstory?
Yeah, so this is actually something that just got added in the aftermath of that shooting at the Trump rally on Saturday. It came out after the fact that Nikki Haley would be added to the schedule. And this has sort of been a big push from Republicans, I think, to show this sort of party unity. Nikki Haley, of course, as you mentioned, was a very bitter rival of former President Trump. When she suspended her campaign, she didn't immediately endorse the former president, so there was certainly no love lost there. But I think her addition to the schedule in the aftermath of that shooting, that assassination attempt on Saturday, just kind of reflects, this unity that the party's really trying to preach all week here.
Do you know whether or not she is actually going to personally say
President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Can't get exactly what she said. Certainly, we've been given the indication that she will preach unity.
Next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And the other thing we want to think is how she's received. Certainly, she's a more moderate member of the party. As I said, she didn't endorse Donald Trump right away. So the question is, will this crowd, this very pro-Trump crowd, embrace her?
And on to Governor DeSantis. It was no love lost between the two as the primary season. And what's the relationship like? And I mean, Florida, talk about Florida's competitiveness and how important it is to the parties in this race. How important is him being on the stand tonight?
Yeah, I think it's very notable that he's going to be on the stage here tonight. Again, sort of similar to Nikki Haley, but a little different in that he was not initially on the schedule, actually, when the first sort of batch of speakers was leaked out. But then he was added to the schedule. He will be here tonight giving remarks. The relationship between Governor DeSantis and former President Trump, I think is a professional one. It would be fair to say it's not exactly a friendly or warm one, as it may have been just a few years ago, but that bitter primary certainly took a lot out of them. They traded insults with Donald Trump in particular, was very upset that Ron DeSantis launched a primary campaign against him. So I think, again, him being here reflects both, again, party unity, but also Ron DeSantis trying to turn the page on that, maybe keeping an eye on 2028 a bit. And also, as you said, sort of the importance of Florida, of making sure that state remains rock solid for the Republican Party.
24 hours since the announcement of the vice presidential pick and Senator J.D. Vance, people following politics can read all sorts of analysis about what this means for the future of the party, for this campaign. What's your take on it?
Yeah, from talking to people here at the convention, people are excited about J.D. Vance. I think it speaks to the fact that he's a very good communicator. He's very articulate. People view him as a very strong messenger for Trump's platform, for Trump's policies. He's young, he's energetic, he's sort of a change of pace from maybe what the party has become accustomed to. So, we saw here on the floor yesterday chants of J.D. as he walked out to be formally nominated. So, certainly it's not a pick without risks. He's relatively untested, I think, on the national stage. He's only served in the Senate for less than 2 years at this point, so that may be a concern. Certainly some of his old comments about abortion will continue to resurface, but for now, people here are definitely excited, and they view him as sort of a future face of the party, really.
Moving on to President Biden's campaign. He is campaigning today in Las Vegas. The Democratic Platform Committee is meeting to get ready for their convention. He had an interview with Lester Holt last night while all the big announcements are going on here. So where does his campaign stand at this point?
Yeah, the Biden campaign is certainly, if it wasn't in a quagmire before, it's sort of even more in a quagmire now after the shooting on Saturday, which really has sort of complicated what President Biden wants his campaign to be about, which is this idea that Donald Trump is this existential threat to democracy. And now President Biden and his team have to figure out how do you convey that message without it being inappropriate or over the top in the wake of that shooting at the Trump rally. On top of that, he's still facing unrest from Democrats who are, maybe not publicly calling for him to step aside as the candidate as they were just last week. But certainly behind the scenes, there's still a lot of hand-wringing. Democrats I've talked to are still quite nervous about whether Joe Biden can actually beat Donald Trump. So we'll see President Biden back out on the trail in Nevada, trying to restart his campaign and get his message back out there and sort of counter-program what's happening here in Milwaukee.
DNC is trying to organize an early vote, pre-convention vote, to solidify President Biden's place on the ticket. There was news today that House Republicans, a certain group of them, are circulating a letter trying to prevent that. Is it settled at this point? Do you think there is still a possibility that he might be challenged for this nomination?
It certainly seems like time is on his side. Democrats, in the wake of that shooting on Saturday, are very reluctant, I think, to publicly come forward and say Joe Biden needs to step aside. Joe Biden has made clear he's not going anywhere. So certainly if they were to try and push him out, it would be this huge fight within the party that would be very problematic for them going into November. So I would be surprised at this point if he's pushed aside. But that said, this early push to nominate him virtually ahead of the convention, it's not sitting well with some Democrats who feel like there should be more of a conversation around the future of the party and who's on the ticket, rather than kind of ramming Joe Biden through as the nominee. So certainly bears watching, even with all eyes here in Wisconsin this week.
Thanks for kicking off our coverage tonight. You have a good night of reporting.
Thank you for having me.
Reporters on the floor. There is a buzz that you can hear as well as the delegates gather, the media, the Republican National Committee. There are many officials and the thousands of volunteers and workers as well for the second day of the Republican National Convention. They're about to start their third session of this convention, and we will, of course, have gavel-to-gavel, uninterrupted coverage, no commentary, no analysis. So keep your coverage here on C-SPAN. You can also watch on our free video mobile app, C-SPAN Now, or online at cspan.org. Kate Martell is tweeting out that the Trump-Vance swag has already made it here to Milwaukee. Take a look at the T-shirts that are on sale here in this city on the second day of the Republican National Convention. Also, a little bit more about the pick of J.D. Vance as the former president's running mate. Elon Musk was apparently a proponent of J.D. Vance. That reported by many news outlets today. He talked to the president about choosing the senator. And then there's this headline in the Wall Street Journal this morning. Elon Musk has said he is committing around $45 million a month to a new pro-Trump super PAC, along with some other businessmen who are forming this PAC. $45 million a month is what they plan to contribute. Another headline for you, YJD, behind the curtain. This is from Axios' reporting. Vance also had the most chemistry with Mr. Trump, who got to know him after Don Jr., the president's son, pushed his dad to endorse Vance for Senate in 2022. Trump has genuine affection for Vance, rare for the former president, and a real change from his reasoning from picking Mike Pence in 2016. Axios goes on to report what's next. We're told the Trump campaign plans to park Vance in Pennsylvania for the next 4 months, with side trips to Michigan and Wisconsin, using his Rust Belt appeal to try to deny President Biden those blue wall states, which he absolutely must win. You heard it, Wisconsin, where we are for the Republican National Convention, on that list of blue wall states. We want to get your thoughts on the convention, the latest in political developments, and what you want to hear and who you want to hear it from at the Republican convention. Jeff in Calgary, Pennsylvania, Republican. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Go ahead.
Okay, I live in the county where the assassination attempt happened, and we're just very happy that the president's okay. I was up there the day before the incident to do a walkthrough. I'm a Trump captain, and I wasn't able to be up there on Saturday because of the heat and my health. And we were very glad to see that the president was okay after the shooting. It was just a very meaningful, touching experience for us because we live in the county. I'm only 10 minutes away from where this happened.
What is it like where you live right now following that attempted assassination?
It's somber. It's got a lot more support for President Trump. It's hard to explain. We just can't believe it happened here in this town. I mean, this is a very Republican town, and we just can't believe that this happened, so close to home.
As a Trump captain, you were doing a walkthrough. Explain to folks what that means.
Well, I went up there the day before to see where everybody was going to be, and I saw the building, where the shooter was, and it was like 400 and some odd feet away from where the stage was. And we were just kind of surprised that, he got that close to the president elect, or what do you want to call him? We call him the president-elect around here because we think he's going to win, but we're just surprised that he got so close to President Trump, and we're just glad that he's okay, and he only got hit in the ear. And we're feeling bad about the people that got hurt, and one person got killed in that.
Jeff, given where you live, what you're talking about right now, what do you want to hear from the former president when he speaks on Thursday? Jeff, you with us? All right, I can't hear Jeff. I'll move on. Sherry in Montgomery, New York, Republican.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for taking my call. I must say I love the lineup of the speakers tonight. Sounds real good. I was just worried about, what happened Saturday to Trump. I mean, his supporters are behind him 100%. I mean, for what happened, that guy couldn't have had no clue what the heck was going on at all. I couldn't imagine what was running through my mind. But he had the wherewithal, if not 2 to 3 times after those Secret Service pounced on him, to ask for his shoes so he can have dignity when he walked off of that podium. And I think he belongs standing in front of the presidential seal. Thank you.
Sherry, before you go, the president reportedly has changed his speech, and he will have a more toned down speech. He had said his original original speech was a humdinger and that he is now going to change it and call for unity. Is that what you want to hear?
Yes, I think that's good of him. You know, everybody needs a cooling down period. It's a shame that, people in office and politics get up there and sometimes they have controversial speech, like on January 6th. It was a controversial speech. He asked for the National Guard to be over there in front of that building, and Pelosi refused him. And I think that was awful.
Okay. All right. David in Greenwood, Delaware.
Hello, can you
David?
hear me? Can you hear me, ma'am? Yes, so
Yes, we can, David.
I'm really 100% on the board with Jimmy Carter here, because I believe that this election is just a mess. With the Trump attempted assassination and all happening. But I really believe one man can fix it. And we just need a hero to come out. Mr. Carter left the White House in 1981 after serving just one term, meaning he could run for re-election in 2024. We need someone with experience. And since he turns 100 in October, Mr. Carter sure does have a lot of it. His first presidency, it really didn't go that great, but a lot has changed in 43 years, so let's give him a second chance. President Jimmy Carter for 2024.
All right, David there with sarcasm in Delaware. There are several Senate candidates that are slated to speak tonight during the Republican National Convention, including Carrie Lake from Arizona, Eric Hovde, who is running in Wisconsin against Tammy Baldwin, Bernie Moreno in Ohio, that is challenging Sherrod Brown there for that seat. Also, Mike Rogers, former member of the House, will be speaking from Michigan. Dave McCormick, the Senate candidate in Pennsylvania. Jim Banks, who's running for that Indiana seat there. Governor Jim Justice of West Virginia, and Hung Kao of Virginia, along with Senator Rick Scott of Florida, who's up for re-election. And then a note about Governor Jim Justice. He is also reportedly bringing Baby Dog tonight when he speaks, his English bulldog that he lovingly refers to as his 60-pound brown watermelon. He will be on stage apparently tonight as well. Next, we want to go back down to the floor where C-SPAN Susan Swain is with Jessica Taylor of the Cook Political Report to talk more about these Senate candidates that we're going to hear from tonight.
Greta, Baby Dog's already on the floor, and he's created quite a stir. So we will see more of him tonight when Jim Justice takes the podium. But as you said, I'm here with Jessica Taylor, who is the guru of Senate races for Cook Political Report, the nonpartisan tip sheet that everybody turns to for analysis about what's really happening in House and Senate races. First of all, on the House side, the Cook Political Report, after the debate, moved a few races into different columns as a result of President Biden's performance. Has that happened in the Senate races as well?
We've moved one Senate race, and that was the open Michigan Senate seat. What we are seeing consistently across the board is that incumbent senators are outrunning President Biden, in some cases significantly. Here in Wisconsin, we got a post-debate poll where Tammy Baldwin was running ahead of Biden by 12 points. But in that open Senate race where we've seen some tighter Michigan numbers, Alyssa Slotkin likely to be the Democratic nominee officially here in a couple of weeks. She's first time running statewide. She doesn't have the sort of independent brand that someone like Tammy Baldwin, someone like John Tester in Montana, someone like Sherrod Brown in Ohio has built over many years. So we are seeing some closer numbers in that race. She's likely to face former Congressman Mike Rogers, who is speaking here this evening.
I want to go through a couple of races. We don't have time for all 10 of the senators and candidates who will be speaking tonight. But let me start with home state, the Wisconsin race, Tammy Baldwin defending her seat. How is that race shaping up?
This is when we still rate in the lean Democrat column. As I mentioned, Baldwin was ahead of Eric Hubdy, who is speaking here tonight. He is a wealthy businessman from the state, family business based in Madison. Democrats have really hit him, though. He has a lot of businesses in California, a home in Orange County, so they've sort of tried to paint him as out of state. I think that he has had some learning. There's been I think a learning curve for him as a Senate candidate. I am hearing from some Republicans they want to see him run possibly a more disciplined campaign. He's putting a lot of his own money into the race, and there will be a lot of outside money coming in here. Though, but as I said, no one I've talked to thinks that Tammy Baldwin or any of these candidates is going to run ahead of Biden by that much. So if Wisconsin news for Eric and Republicans.
Let me move on to Ohio, which you mentioned, Sherrod Brown defending his seat, and now we've got a vice presidential nominee from Ohio. It's too early for polls, but what are you hearing about what the impact might be?
I think that I've talked to some Ohio Republicans today, and they absolutely think that just the focus there and having a state senator now on the ballot could certainly just help boost Trump's numbers there. This is a state that he won by 8 points twice. I absolutely think that, again, we haven't seen any numbers post-debate, but I think it was absolutely already going to be a double-digit race, and I think that's going to be even higher. Sherrod Brown is someone, though, that, again, can outrun, has sort of defied gravity before. Bernie Moreno, the Republican nominee, is speaking here tonight there. I think he still has a way to introduce himself to voters. He's, I'm hearing sort of he, still needs to get up on air, define himself in a way. Brown has such a defined brand already, but I think, again, Brown's biggest hindrance is that he has that D beside of his name, and now with Vance there, but we could also see if Moreno's elected, he could quickly be the senior senator from Ohio, and there's already speculation of who Governor Mike DeWine would appoint to fill that open Senate seat if the Trump-Vance ticket is successful.
Let me just hit a couple more. Bob Casey defending his seat in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, a must-win for both presidential candidates. So how's the Senate race shaping up?
We still have this one rated lean Democrat, but I want to see, we are seeing, I think, some tightening presidential numbers. We still have Pennsylvania in our electoral college ratings in the toss-up column. Casey, another person, elected in 2006, has, these senators, Casey, Tester, Brown, they've run in very good Democratic years. This is going to be a real test of that. Of course, his father was governor, a well-known brand in the state, but Republican David McCormick, I think he narrowly lost the Republican nomination last time, putting a lot of his own money into the race, so I think he really will be Casey's, I think, toughest challenger to date, but, again, these are all races I expect to tighten, and, again, Casey can outrun President Biden by how much? It just sort of is that political gravity. When does it set in?
Told me that before we started, you ran into Tim Sheehy, 37 years old, and he is trying to knock John Tester out of his seat in Montana. How's that race going?
That is Republicans' best pickup opportunity. So he will also be speaking here this evening. Republican polls that are very bullish on this. We still have it in toss-up, but again, a state that Trump won by 16 points, I think that's even going to grow. Democrats or Republicans really feel like they've had weak challengers against Tester in the past. There was, of course, a concerted push for his 2018 nominee, Matt Rosendale, to not be the nominee. Rosendale was pushed out of that contest. Sheehy, a very young, energetic veteran, Purple Heart recipient. He's really stressing veterans issues in that race. Montana has a very significant veterans population, but Tester's chairman of the Veterans Committee. He's really trying to emphasize his bipartisan credentials, but again, how much can he outrun Biden by in a state that we know that Trump is going to run up a really big margin in?
Okay, going to do one more, and that's Nevada. Jackie Rosen defending her seat. Sam Brown is the Republican candidate. He'll be speaking tonight. Is she in any trouble?
Absolutely. We have this race in our toss-up column. Unlike these other senators I mentioned, this is Rosen's first re-election campaign. So she had a very rapid rise in politics. In 2016, she was elected to the House. She'd been a synagogue president. And Nevada, unlike other states, it's very unique because it's a very transient state. You have a lot of new people moving in really every 4 years. Candidates have to reintroduce themselves to about anywhere between a quarter and half of the population. So this is a state that's been hit uniquely hard economically. Immigration is a big issue there. Biden's numbers have really tanked there. This is a race that we in our electoral college ratings recently moved from toss-up to lean Republican. And to me, that's the most significant state, because this is a state of the swing states. Democrats won this in 2016 and 2020. So I think that Senate race is very much in play as well.
So what's the money like this time around? How much money is going into these Senate campaigns compared to past years?
It's every year breaks records, and with some of these Senate races overlapping with presidential, we're going to see, I think, record spending in all of these races. What an interesting dynamic. Republicans have struggled to catch up with Democrats in fundraising and in hard dollars, because candidates get better rates than outside super PACs do. But you have some of these wealthy candidates like Eric Hovde, like David McCormick, like Tim Sheehy, that are putting in some of their own money. So Republicans are hoping that helps narrow the gap. But we are seeing the super PACs already raising, Chuck Schumer's main super PAC, Senate Majority Fund, and Mitch McConnell's main super PAC, Senate Leadership Fund, have already reserved millions of dollars in all of these races. Money will not be an issue, I don't think, in any of these races. It's going to be, if you live in one of these states, good luck watching the advertising this fall.
We'll keep watching you as you do the analysis and crunch the numbers over the next couple of months. Thanks for talking to us tonight.
Thanks.
And it's the second day of the Republican National Convention. C-SPAN Susan Swain down there on the convention floor. We're inside the Fiserv Forum. And down where Susan is, that lower bowl can fit about 10,000 people. Many more people can fill this NBA basketball arena when it's not a party convention hall. You can see that the delegates, more and more of them, are making their way inside of the Fiserv Forum. There's over 2,400 delegates here in Milwaukee. There's 700 plus media outlets, 30,000 some credentialed media, and then the Republican National Committee met their goal of 4,000 volunteers, even more than they expected to pull off this 4-day convention. C-SPAN is here throughout the 4 days, as we always are, for the party conventions, and we will be in Chicago for the Democrats as well. Gavel-to-gavel coverage here on C-SPAN, along with our free video mobile app, C-SPAN Now, or on demand, at cspan.org. The crowd was jubilant last night when they got to see their nominee after officially nominating him to become ahead of their ticket. And then that followed with the announcement of J.D. Vance, and he was quickly nominated to serve on the ticket. So it became a Trump-Vance ticket yesterday. The headlines today in some of the swing states across the country: the Detroit News out of Michigan, GOP vows fight, Trump picks VP is their headline. Some other ones, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in Georgia, Trump taps J.D. Vance as running mate. That's the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And then in Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, their headline, Vance fills ticket. And then they also have more on the shooting there. The Arizona Republic, Trump picks Vance to be his running mate. And the Las Vegas Review-Journal, validation for Vance. Mickey in Minneapolis, Democratic caller. Mickey, have you been watching the Republicans here in Milwaukee?
I have been, and mostly because of you being there. I miss having Steve there, but it's great to see Susan there as well. You're in my old hometown. So a couple things. One is that I wanted to make a point about last night when I was watching the convention when Sean O'Brien was speaking, from the president of the Teamsters Union. I was a little confused with his message, especially bashing Tesla and Elon Musk and talking about workers' rights. It was as if he's in the wrong convention. And I did not see former President Trump clapping at all when he was speaking. So I still don't quite understand why they had him there. I know the dynamics that they want to say they're a party of workers, the Republicans are, but his message was very much against what the Republicans have to say. And on that note, Elon Musk is very brilliant because almost everybody I know who owns a Tesla is a Democrat. So he's now going to sell millions of cars to Republicans. And that $45 million a month that you just mentioned a little bit ago that he's going to be donating to a super PAC supporting Trump will come back to him tenfold. And the other thing that I wanted to ask is that it's very unfortunate that the assassination attempt against former President Trump, I honestly, at first, it did not sink in to me until President Biden came on TV immediately and said that, you know, this was an assassination attempt against the former president. Because of all the unfortunate mass shootings, initially I didn't really realize how serious the matter was. But on that note, I wanted to ask, had, God forbid, I don't condone the issue and I don't want president to be killed, but had Donald Trump been killed, what would have happened with
I'd like to deliver a message that the media doesn't want
you to hear from the Republican Party. Our message to black Americans is this. The media has tried to convince you for decades that Republicans don't care about your community.
What would have gone on in Milwaukee right now? And my last point is that I have been meaning to call into Washington Journal about President Biden stepping away for Kamala Harris to come up. I think that is so wrong that everything to be handed on a silver platter to Kamala Harris. No running for a primary, all the money being raised, and then all of a sudden President Trump setting aside and handing it all to Kamala Harris. I don't want Donald Trump to become president, but I really do not want everything to be handed on a silver platter to Kamala Harris either.
And you disagree with everything I just said.
Okay, Mickey, I know you've talked for a while. I'm going to go on to Lee, who's in Macon, Georgia. Lee in Macon, Georgia. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, C-SPAN, for this great coverage. I've been watching the convention.
What is Kafka and Zookeeper, and how can it help you? Imagine Kafka is a busy airport with many planes or messages constantly arriving and departing to various destinations or applications. In this case, Zookeeper is like the ATC. It ensures that each plane is guided to the correct gate or destination and keeps everything organized and running smoothly. That's exactly how Zookeeper maintains order and coordinates within the Kafka ecosystem. To know more, join our...
Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome...
Love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the warm welcome. It's good to be back in Milwaukee. This time last year, I was a candidate for U.S. president, and I'm proud to say that I achieved the impossible, which is that most of you actually know how to say my name by now. So thank you for that. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in Milwaukee. Welcome. It's good to be back in Milwaukee. This time last year, I was a candidate for U.S. president, and I'm proud to say that I achieved the impossible, which is that most of you actually know how to say my name by now. So thank you for that. It's good to be back. This by standing for and your contributions. Because you know what? Success is unity and victimhood. That is what we will revive. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Because the business of the second day here of the Republican National Convention will begin at the top of the hour. Let's go back down to the convention.
This time last year, I was a candidate for U.S. president, and I'm proud to say that I achieved the impossible.
That's right, Greta. We are here on the floor where things have gotten very loud and people are starting to take their seats. But I noticed that in the Vermont section, there was one gentleman, Mr. Richard Morton, and he was quietly reading his Bible. How do you read your Bible when things around you are going like that?
You just have to concentrate. And it was a little quieter a few minutes ago before they started. But you know, it reaches to the heart and it stays there, and it's important.
Well, I wanted to speak with you as well District of Columbia that actually had chosen Nikki Haley as its candidate in its primary. And Nikki Haley was not scheduled to run today, to be here today, I'm sorry, but she now is coming. So I wanted to ask you how you felt about that.
Trump supporter now. I'd have voted for Haley if I needed to because of the way the delegation was split up.
Well, actually, could you tell us that? Explain to us how Vermont sets up its delegates.
Well, she won the state, so she would get the bulk of the delegates to this convention. And the top delegates would be assigned to her, and the other delegates would be for Trump. But then she released us all, so it didn't matter anymore. So either way, Trump's going to get elected. I'm happy about that. And so however that arrangement worked out, it was not a problem for me.
And today's theme is Make America Safe Once Again. What does that mean for you?
Just think of the smash and grab in the stores in the various cities around the country. Think of our border being wide open and we're not vetting the people who are coming in, the possible terrorists who can get in, traffickers who can get in, the fentanyl that can get in. Think about all of those issues, and I'm thinking, yeah, we need a safer country. Now, that's not just the fault of a Democratic Party, but some of the policies that they espouse, no bail, prison reform, and all those things, simply make it easier for criminals to be on the street and do what they do.
Is there anything in particular that you want to hear from any of the speakers today that are talking about safety?
Well, if they can address those things I mentioned about the border, about crime in our cities, I think those would be a good starting place.
Richard Morton, one of only 17 delegates from Vermont. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
To you, Greta.
And the theme tonight, Make America Safe Once Again. So they will be discussing national security, immigration issues. There will be speeches from House leadership, as we noted before, Senate candidates, current members of the Senate, as well will be speaking rivals from this presidential primary of former President Mr. Trump. They will get speaking slots tonight as well. And you will also, of course, get lots of music, delegates dancing as they have been this week. Music and entertainment, partying is part of this in addition to the business that these parties do at conventions. Earlier today, C-SPAN spoke with Lee Greenwood, a familiar face and voice to Republican supporters of former President Trump.
Hi, I'm Lee Greenwood, five-time Male Vocalist of the Year for Country Music Association, a Grammy winner, and an American patriot. Of course, I wrote God Bless USA in 1983. So in 1984, it was released as a record for the first time. So two things parallel here. 40 years ago, I wrote God Bless USA, and it was a song. So this is the 40th anniversary of USA. It is also the 40th anniversary of the first time the Republican Party ever used God Bless USA for a president. So we go all the way back to the Reagan days. I'm proud of President Trump for using the song. I had no idea he was going to use it. Of course, in his former term as president, it was the song he used all along. And there was a lot of pushback. People would say, well, did they call you and ask you to do it? And I said, no. Did you call them and say you can't do it? No. Because I'm a conservative Christian. I believe that Donald Trump stands for making America great. And now, making America great again. And he's still using the song. I'm proud of him. And now I sing for him live. Proud to do that. And on Monday night, I sang for him live again right after an assassination attempt. And this was a very proud moment for me. We were supposed to be here on Tuesday and do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But when the Trump campaign called and said the president is going to make an appearance to make sure that he knows the rest of the world that he is defiant, he is courageous, and he wants to let the RNC know he is still on the campaign trail and going to win the presidency. So he said, get Lee Greenwood, I want him to sing live, and I want him to introduce me. Donald Trump has never cut my song in half. And I thought a lot about that. I realize now it's not just a courtesy to me and the writer and the singer of God Bless the USA, but when he takes the stage, he uses the rest of the song so people can get a good look at him, they good pictures of him just standing without talking, and he's perusing the audience. He's seeing who is in the audience so he can make and address them during his speech, because he does that without a teleprompter, by the way. There's a lot of things that make us proud of who we are. I was raised on a chicken farm in California as a teenager. I guess I had all of the right things sent to me. Proud of who you are. Your neighbor is your friend. You help somebody when they need it, and your handshake is your word. As I left home at 16, 17 years old, I had almost 20 years in Nevada, the Greenfield jungle. I even dealt cards there for a while. And shooken by many things that did not bring me to faith. After I came to Tennessee and I married my wife, Kim, we've been married 32 years now, I came back to faith. I came back to Christ. And what makes me a patriot now is the belief that America is the greatest country in the world. We are God-fearing, and we believe in faith and faith in our president, and it's going to be faith in Donald Trump to win the presidency again.
Lee Greenwood from earlier today talking about the Trump campaign using his song, God Bless the USA. It sounds like you'll get to hear from him again throughout this week as you did last night. And if you missed any of our coverage, you can find it on demand at cspan.org. We also are breaking down the convention speakers on our website. So if you're looking for a specific speaker that you might have missed, find it again on our website, cspan.org. You can find all of our convention coverage here on C-SPAN throughout the week, but also on our free video mobile app, C-SPAN Now. We're getting your reaction to the political news of the week and the convention. Maria in Webster, Massachusetts. Let's go to you.
Hi. Thank you very much for taking my call. And I echo every single thing that Lee Greenwood said. And I think God spared Donald Trump's life because he's meant to bring the nation back to God again. And I thought all the speakers were wonderful last night, and I especially liked Amber Rose and the guy from Goya Foods, the president of Goya Foods, but they were all wonderful. And I just want to say one last thing. You're wonderful, but I just want to remind the rest of the news media how toxic they are to Donald Trump. Part of maybe what happened in Pennsylvania is their mean rhetoric all the time. Ever since he came back on the escalator, when he first ran for president, they lie about him, they distort the truth, and that's why I think so many people are mean when on the Democrat side when they call in, they lie about him all the time. And I want to remind them that someday they're going to face God. They have a bigger boss than them, and they're going to have to account for all the lies that they tell every day and smear him. And I think it's terrible. And I want Donald Trump to know, President Trump, I pray for you every single day, for you and your beautiful family. May God bless you and keep you in the palm of his hand and protect you everywhere and always. I love you, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, that was Maria in Massachusetts. Leonard is next. He's a Republican in Fulton, California.
Yes, it'll be my third time for voting for Donald Trump, and I'm doing my part to get out the vote. And I've seen Donald Trump 3 times, but I didn't see him, but he saw me. He was in his car. I didn't see him because it was a black window. I always was behind him all the time. Never gave up on him.
Leonard,
he did.
Leonard, you said you're doing whatever you can to get him reelected. What are you doing?
Oh, I got Trump bumper stickers, and I'm passing them out. They're putting them on their car, and I live at a assisted living in front of the building. I got a Trump hat, and I'm saying Trump. I just got Trump hat on, and I'm saying Trump, and 4th of July, I had Trump hat on, and I had American flag.
Okay. All right, so you're wearing the Trump logo wherever you go, it sounds like. That's your way of trying to help him get reelected. By the way, the Trump Vance logo is out, as we showed you yesterday. They already changed the campaign plane, and some of the swag here in Milwaukee already has the Trump Vance logo on it. The Republican National Convention here in Milwaukee and in Wisconsin is the first time for the Republican Party. This time for 2024, they had a $68 million budget to pull off this campaign. They had to fundraise that money for these 4 days. 50,000 people is what they've expected. That includes the 2,429 delegates and over 700 media outlets. Plus, there's over 1,000 vendors, 211 official convention vendors, and more than 100 small venues just right here in the security perimeter outside the Fiserv Forum. Plus, there's more than 4,000 volunteers. Anne Hathaway, the RNC's Committee on Arrangements chair, told us earlier this week that her organization was expecting more than 30,000 members of the news media to descend on the convention this week. Among them are journalists from Wisconsin, many of whom are reporting from a local media row sponsored by the nonprofit Wisconsin Watch.
On Wisconsin Media Row inside here at the Republican National Convention. Wisconsin Media Row was actually an idea born out of the 2020 Democratic Convention, which of course did not take place here in Milwaukee quite the way many folks expected it to. My boss, Matt DeFore, who works with me at Wisconsin Watch, was formerly working with the Wisconsin State Journal and got really interested in this idea of bringing a state-specific media area to a big national convention like this. And so there was some initial interest from the DNC. Of course, the pandemic hit, everything changed, and the world was turned upside down. And so when Republicans announced that they were going to do the convention here in Milwaukee, those conversations picked up. Kind of happened behind the scenes for several months. They were interested. They've been great partners in setting this up for us. And, we were able to make it official back in the spring. And, of course, here we are now with some 25 news organizations and from all over the state of Wisconsin. So it's been a really great partnership. We wanted this to be for whoever wanted to participate. It was very affordable for news organizations to get a spot in here, and it was open to pretty much any Wisconsin media organization that wanted to be involved. So we did a lot of outreach and coordination in the months leading up to the convention. It was a lot of email chains, and eventually we settled on the 25 news organizations that are here right now. So far as we can tell, we're pretty sure this is the first time that there has been a national political convention from either party that has had a dedicated media area for the state that is hosting the convention. So it's kind of cool, a little piece of history here at the Republican National Convention. I think it's really important, right? Local news organizations and local reporters have built relationships with their communities and can be that trusted voice that sometimes the national, unfamiliar figure can't always lend. And so it's really interesting to see what people would do this week and how they can kind of connect what's happening here in Milwaukee, which is garnering this international attention, and connect it back to communities all across the state, whether it's in Green Bay, in Madison, smaller communities that are kind of spread across the media markets here. So I think it'll be really exciting to see what people do over the next few days. We're doing some exciting stuff at Wisconsin Watch. We have a partnership with we'll be doing quite a bit of fact checking, both during the Republican National Convention and again next month. All sorts of newsletter operations, and we'll also be do some videos and some fun video recaps and trying to keep people informed and engaged in a different way. That's kind of a new project for us at Wisconsin Watch. I don't know if I can speak for the whole state, but we definitely have been appreciative of their willingness to work with us to make this happen. And so far things are going smoothly. So we've been very appreciative of the host committee and the RNC for making this space happen.
A look at the state media covering their convention here in Milwaukee. And of course, there is a lot of national and international media. Here at C-SPAN, we're part of the coverage, and we will do what we always do on C-SPAN, is bring you down to the convention floor. We're about 10 minutes away from the gavel coming down on this second day. We want you to listen to the sights and sounds before the official business gets underway. We'll be back after with more of your reaction, your phone calls to this Republican National Convention. Live coverage here on C-SPAN.
and alternate delegates, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The 2024 Republican National Convention will begin in a few minutes.
in Milwaukee. This time last year, I was a candidate for U.S. president, and I'm proud to say that I achieved the impossible, which is that most of you actually know how to say my name right. So thank you for that. It's good to be back. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis.
Michael Whatley of North Carolina.
Delegates and alternates, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you all to the second night of this historic Republican National Convention. I have to ask, did we have a great night last night? Do we have a great nominee for Vice President in J.D. Vance? And do we have a great nominee for the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump? Are you ready for a great night, too? I hereby call this session to order.
Ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's invocation, please welcome Pastor Neil Jackson from North Carolina.
Tonight's theme is to make America safe again. That is an impossible task without divine assistance. Would you join me in prayer as we call upon the Lord to make our country safe once again? Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings upon the United States of America. Thank you for your provisions upon this land, your protection of this land, and your promotion of this land, which is undeniable. Your word says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." Tonight, we claim that for America, believing that you desire to bless and prosper our country as we honor you and your ways. Father, forgive us for when we have strayed from your commandments, and grant us mercy. Tonight, we ask that you would protect our country from those who would do us harm. Thank you for protecting President Trump from the many attacks leveled against him, but especially the attack this past Saturday. Tonight, we pray for our military leaders and officers. Pray for our police officers, our firefighters, our first responders, as they risk their lives so we can continue to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. You commanded Joshua to be strong and courageous. Tonight, all across this country, I pray that you would raise up a generation of courageous leaders who follow you with their whole heart and govern with integrity. We ask these things in the name that is above every name, the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of colors. The colors are presented by the Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin Honor Guard. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Left, right, left, 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 right, you left, left, right. Left, face.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem.
Present arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mary Ann Taylor to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hello, patriots. Are you ready to pledge this American flag and give them our loyalty? Yes. Well, we're going to do this the Southern South Carolina way, a little bit slower. If you are military, and I'm looking out, and a lot of you already are poised, if you're like me from a military family but not military, we're going to stand at attention, place your right hand over your heart, and pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage Grammy Award-winning singer and U.S. Army veteran, Milwaukee native, Daniel Irby, to perform our national anthem.
What so proudly we held at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. On the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing while the colors are retired.
Face! Forward! March! Left, 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 right. Left, 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 right. Left, 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 right.
कालिदास मार्ग पे खड़े हुए हैं, जो कि उत्तर प्रदेश की
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chair of the Republican Party Committee on Arrangements, Anne Hathaway from Indiana.
किया है वो मंडी अपनी लगाए हुए है, नाले का नोलन वो यहाँ इस वक्त हम 5 कालिदास मार्ग पे खड़े हुए हैं, जो कि उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री का सरकारी निवास स्थान है। तो यहाँ पर तमाम जो मीडिया है वो मंडी अपनी लगाए हुए है, नाले का नोलन वो यहाँ पर आपको दिख जाएगा फर्जी रिपोर्टिंग करते हुए। हालांकि यहाँ पर अभी नाले जैसा कोई सीन तो नहीं है, सूखा पड़ा है, तो इसको गोता लगाने में थोड़ी दिक्कत आ रही होगी। बाकी ये जिसको शक्ल देख लो, कोई गंदे जैसा मुंह बना रहा है, ये सबसे फर्जी और अफवाहबाज रिपोर्टर है। इस वक्त हम 5 कालिदास मार्ग पे खड़े हुए हैं, जो कि उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री का सरकारी निवास स्थान है। तो यहाँ पर तमाम जो मीडिया
to entertainment leaders, the business luminaries, grassroots activists, and the everyday Americans who power our party, united in our common goal to make America safe again, to make America wealthy again, to make America strong again, and to make America great again. Teddy Roosevelt famously said, "It's not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to those who are actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood."
The Prime Minister on his election
Ladies and
victory,
gentlemen,
and as he
this
takes on his
is the
formidable
arena.
task, he and his family
Just by
deserve the good wishes of all
participating
of
in
us
this
in this
convention,
House.
whether you're
in
a
our
speaker,
politics, we can
a
argue
delegate,
vigorously,
or a
as the
viewer
Prime
at
Minister and I
home,
did
you
over the
have
past
an
6
opportunity
weeks, but
to
still
engage
respect
in
each
the
other.
fight
And
for
whatever
a better
disputes we may
future for
have
our
in this
children.
Parliament, I know that
So I
everyone in
ask
this
you,
House will not lose
as
sight
you
of the
watch
fact that we are
this
all
convention
motivated by our
and
desire
hear
to
these
serve our
incredible
constituents,
speakers over
our
the next
country,
few days,
and advance the principles that we honourably believe in.
to listen,
And to every member, new and old,
to share
let me welcome them
the
to their
message
places
that
and
resonates
congratulate
with
them
you and your
on their
friends
results.
and
To be
your
sent
family,
to this place
and
by
to
one's
help us
constituents
channel the
is the
incredible
greatest honour,
energy of this
and
this convention into
know
a
every one of us
resounding
will be
victory
trying
in
to repay
November,
the trust
up
placed in
and
us.
down the ballot.
And I look forward to continuing
Starting
to
with
represent
electing
the interests of my
Donald
own
J.
rural
Trump as
North
president
Yorkshire
and J.D. Vance
One of
as
the great
vice
aspects
president.
of our system is no matter how high you rise, you still have that
Make
constituency which
Make
keeps you
sure
grounded.
your friends,
And my advice
families,
to all
and
members
neighbors are
is to
registered
appreciate
to
the role
vote.
that you have every
Get
day
your
that you have
yard
it.
signs.
And
Make
for
a
those of
plan
us
to
in my
get to the
party,
polls.
let me begin with a message to those who
The
are no
fate
longer
of
sitting
the
behind.
free world depends on us giving
We have lost too
everything
many diligent,
we've got
community-spirited
and ensuring that we elect
whose wisdom
American
and
first
expertise will be
candidates
missed in the
up and
debates
down
and
the ballot to
discussions
every office.
It is important
Thank
that after
you,
14
and
years
God
in
bless
government, the
America.
Conservative Party rebuilds. So now we will take up the crucial role
Ladies and
of His
gentlemen,
Majesty's
please
official
welcome the
opposition,
Governor of the
professionally,
State of Tennessee
effectively,
and Chair of the Republican Governors Association,
and restoring trust begins
Governor
by remembering
Bill
that being
Lee.
here is an opportunity to do what those we serve expect of us. And in other things, that means holding the new government to account.
Thank you.
Can I congratulate the Father of the House?
Thank
the
you.
member
It
for Gateshead.
is an
My
honor
right
to
honourable
be
friend
here
has given
tonight
41 years
to add
of
my
remarkable,
voice to
dedicated
yours
service
and our
to
fellow
this House
Americans
and his
who
constituency. I know
understand
full
the
well
magnitude
how ferociously my right
of this
honourable friend
moment.
fights for the interests
We have
of his
gathered here
constituents, and I applaud
to
him for
guard
that.
and protect
My right honourable friend
and
is also
defend
testament to the
the
benefits
fundamental
of
tenets
an
of our
early
free
morning dip
society.
in the Serpentine.
After all, we do
And
still
members may
live
be
in the most
interested to note
remarkable
that the
country
Bottomleys
in the world.
have also had a big
With
influence on
freedoms
my right honourable friend's career.
with freedoms, liberties, and opportunities that most of the world has never enjoyed. Now, we know that our freedoms are granted by God, but they are preserved by the people.
And can I also congratulate the
generation after generation of Americans have defended their essential freedoms from the encroachment of the federal government. As Republican governors, we are on the front lines of that fight. And we have banded together to preserve freedom and right the wrongs of the last 4 years.
And can I join with
the Biden
you,
and Harris administration unleashed inflation on this country, making it hard for Americans to make ends meet.
And
Republican governors pushed back by cutting taxes for our people.
To the Speaker's chair, you did so with
they opened the border, endangering our country. Republican governors sent the National Guard to the border to protect it, to crack down on cartels and fentanyl and human trafficking. They tried to let the Chinese Communist Party buy our farmland. Republican governors banned it. They attacked parental rights. Republican governors fought back for a parent's right to choose their own child's education. President Trump was right when he said that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time. In the storm stirred by Washington, Republican governors across this country have stood as anchors of courage, their states as harbors of hope, and their people as models of freedom. But governors can only do so much. We need strong leadership in the White House. We know what that looks like. We had it before, we need it again. And that's why we, as Republican governors, are joining together, unifying in support for Donald Trump for president. I count it as a great blessing to take my place on the wall, to stand where those before me have stood beside people like you, each guardians of our shining city on a hill. May we as a people call out to the Lord, seek his wisdom, ask him to heal our nation, and bless this country we call America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the National Federation of Republican Women, Julie Harris.
Hello, Milwaukee. I am honored to be here representing the nation's largest grassroots Republican women's organization in our country. I'm the proud mother of 5, the grandmother of 11. My husband and I are family business owners. We work hard for everything we have and to give our children every opportunity to achieve their dreams. Parents across the country know what it's like to have a pro-family president in the White House. Under President Trump, gasoline and food were affordable. He won huge tax cuts for the middle class and created great high-paying jobs. He worked to keep crime low and to keep drugs out of this country. He's a businessman. He understands what it's like to build something of your own. Joe Biden has never built anything of his own. He uses a government to destroy things and to make it impossible to give your children the life you dreamed of for them. On day 1, Joe Biden declared war on families. He made it harder for people to support themselves, to start families, and to raise children. He's robbed families of affordable homes, energy, and food. As our supply chains broke and inflation exploded, Biden's press secretary blamed us. She implied we should buy less. After destroying the economy and flooding America with illegal immigrants, Biden still wants to raise our taxes. The American dream means more than just scraping by. But under Biden, 65% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck. When it's this hard to provide the basics, the other things we want to provide for our families get wiped out too. Piano lessons, summer camp, braces, family vacation, Christmas gifts. This is not the America that we have worked so hard for. Biden wants us to barely scrape by. President Trump wants us to thrive. We need a pro-family president in the White House again. And that president is Donald J. Trump. From the National Federation of Republican Women, thank you, Milwaukee.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day. And I'll send all my loving to you. I'll pretend that I'm kissing the lips that I'm missing. And hope all my dreams will come true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day. And I'll send all my loving to you.
وهناك أيضا حالة التواطؤ الفاضح والخدمة للأعداء من حكومات وأنظمة عنيلة على رأسها
Darling, I'll be true. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Young Republicans Chairman Hayden Paget.
I'm Hayden Paget. I'm the chairman of the Young Republican National Federation and a proud son of the great state of Texas. More importantly, I'm a husband and the father of two wonderful children who are under 2 years old. This election, I'll be fighting to build a better country for them, my kids. America has always been a place where the promise of tomorrow is brighter than the trials of today. But for young Americans, that future is diminishing as quickly as, well, Biden's cognitive ability. In 2 years, America will celebrate her 250th birthday. But for Americans celebrating their 25th birthday now, they see a future where their dreams are increasingly out of reach. The rising cost of education keeps us in debt. The rising price of groceries and fuel keeps us living one paycheck to the next. The rising cost of childcare keeps us from starting our own families, and the rising cost of rent keeps us from owning our own home. But we know that life can be better, that our lives can be more than making ends meet. Because it was better under Donald Trump. Making America great again means making groceries and gas affordable again, making education an investment and not a burden again, and making home ownership possible again. We just celebrated our Independence Day, where we were reminded that our founders did not promise us happiness, but the right to pursue it. The Biden-Harris economy has taken that all away from us. And this election, the young Republicans will be fighting to make the economy great again. We will help to throw Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and their legacies into the trash heap of history, and we will elect Donald Trump, a man whom grace and grit have saved for our time. And Senator J.D. Vance, the first young Republican who will be elected Vice President of these United States in almost 70 years. And together, we will restore the American dream for young Americans. I owe it to my children, just as we all owe it to our future, to make America great again. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Chief Executive Officer of the Republican Jewish Coalition, Mr. Matt Brooks.
Hello, Milwaukee! Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel. Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel. Now, if someone tried that at the Democrats' convention, they'd be booed off the stage. But here, at the Republican convention, we proudly and loudly stand with Israel. This election is a critical moment for the American Jewish community and for Israel. This is our chance to continue the incredible pro-Israel legacy of the most pro-Israel president in history, Donald J. Trump. President President Trump, among his many accomplishments, many of which they said couldn't be done, but he did it. He moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. They said it couldn't be done, but he weakened the Iranian regime. They said it couldn't be done, but he delivered the historic Abraham Accords, bringing us closer to peace in the Middle East. With President Trump, we will repair and rebuild the U.S.-Israel relationship that has deteriorated after 4 disastrous years under President Biden. Now, today, 9 months after the historic Hamas attacks, shockingly, President Biden is still withholding critical arms that Israel needs to defend itself. Boo. America must stand with Israel and against the terrorists, especially Iran. We must stand with the Israeli people. Now, my message here today to the Jewish community is clear. There is only one pro-Israel party, and it's the Republican Party. And here at home, under Donald Trump, we will put a stop to the rising tide of anti-Semitism. President Trump will bring back law and order so that American Jews can once again wear a kippah and walk the streets without fear. President Trump will stop the mobs on the college campuses so Jewish students feel safe when they go to class. The Jewish community is ready to help elect Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. The Jewish vote continues to increase for Republicans year after year, and I promise you 2024 will be no different. So let me ask all of you, who will best stand up to the Hamas sympathizers and the squad? Donald Trump! Who will best stand with Israel? Donald Trump. Who will make sure Jews feel safe and secure? Thank you, RNC, for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you, President Trump, for your commitment to elevating Jewish American voices. Together, unified, we will win. Am Yisrael High!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome former White House Chief of Staff to Donald J. Trump, Reince Priebus.
As a longtime Badger, let me say, welcome to Wisconsin. Partners throughout the city of Milwaukee and state of Wisconsin have been preparing behind the scenes for over 2 years to make this convention a reality. I couldn't be more appreciative of everyone who helped make this happen. Milwaukee is a world-class city